Alright guys, you're going to be designing a turboplane design jet engine in Onshape. So I thought I would introduce this to you so you have a basic idea of what a jet engine is all about and how it's made, why the blades are arranged the way they're arranged, and so we're going to go ahead and give you kind of a history lesson on the jet engine. Alright, so this is a turboplane design. This is a high-tech propeller inside of a duct called a diffuser, driven by a gas generator. Alright, this is almost the same thing as we're designing. Okay, the core is the gas generator that creates high-tech pressure gas to power a turbine. The setup has a compressor, combustor, and turbine in sections. The compressor, compressed air makes for a much more powerful reaction relative to engine size. Compression happens in stages that forces incoming air into an increasingly narrow chamber. The compressor stage includes a spinning rotor with stationary stator vanes, which are attached to the core casing. Stator vanes slow the swirling air to create a increased air pressure. The compressor, hold on, don't get ahead of myself. The compressor has 4 low pressure vanes and 10 high pressure vanes. All right, on to the combustor. The combustor air is mixed with fuel and ignited as air passes through the combustor. This design is an annular combustor, which means ring-shaped. Each nozzle is coupled with a fuel injector, seen here, that swirls the incoming air and fuel for an even mixture. The igniter plugs ignite the mixture, and as long as there's air flowing through, you'll get the pressure created by the combustor. The turbine is powered by by exhaust gases. Much of the power is used. This power is used to turn the fan at the front of the jet engine. The turbine fans get very hot, and some air from the compressor is diverted for cooling. Special coatings are used to keep temperatures down, and the exhaust cones are used to mix exhaust streams. All right, so the fan is considered a high-tech fan inside a duct. Okay, air that does not enter the core is bypass air. This design is made to move large volumes of air at low cruising speeds. So this would be a commercial jetliner. A high volume of bypass air offers quieter operation. So if you're to look at a commercial airliner versus a military fighter jet, you would have high bypass air for the commercial airliner and low bypass air for the military aircraft. And an example would be you've got military cargo planes would use these large bypass designs to lower the noise, and also commercial airliners. All right, so this is a jet engine for a fighter plane, and so it's really not efficient when it comes to controlling noise. There's not a whole lot of bypass air. You got the afterburner, which is a second stage burner, which it injects more fuel into the back half of the jet engine, which multiplies the amount of force coming up back. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and go into our, and the exhaust nozzle can actually be open and closed to increase and decrease pressure. All right, guys. So this is our jet engine, and same thing. It's going to be almost uh, blade for blade on what we just saw. So we're going to um, walk you through this. I'm going to walk you through this, and um, it is kind of tedious. The core stage, which is the is it 10 blades? It actually you have to go revolute uh, and fasten, revolute, fasten, revolute, fasten. So every other one is going to be fastened or stationary, and that is the stator vanes, stationary vanes that control the swirling of air. So got a X-ray view of our jet engine, and you can see the different stages. You can see the combustion stage. You can see the core, the compressor, and you can see the combustor and the turbine and the fan out front. So it looks like the fan is turning correctly. So all of your blades should be turning in the same direction, and I think I have some of these going backwards. So make sure you guys pay attention to detail and make sure you get the all of the sections turning in proper direction. So that's just going into when you create the gears. Some of them are reversed and some of them are not, and so you just have to kind of figure out which ones are and which ones aren't. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble this. You're going to get something that looks like this, and your first step is to put the middle axle, and that's going to be fastened, and you're going to go about halfway up that last stage and just fasten that in there, and that way you have the different compartments in the jet engine can turn at their own rate, and if you have all of them fastened to the axle, they're all going to have to turn at the same speed. So fastening the axle and then revoluting all of the blades on the axle is the best way to do it. All right, so you can go back and forth on the pictures. I've got some pictures in there, so you can kind of refer to that. But what you're going to want to do is you can start from the top. These blades over here have to be fastened onto the let's see. Onto that section, and I think what happens is I actually when I put that in there, I forgot to switch to revolute, and I'm going to have to fix that at the end of the video. But so you can see I'm still on fasten, and I should be on revolute. This blade's going to have a hard time turning, but I will fix that. I will catch it. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to see what's next. This is the combustor. That's the fuel air mixture stage, and I'm going to offset that, bring that down below that last stage, and okay, so just bring that down below, and you can see there's a section that goes across the middle, and you want to make sure it kind of splits evenly in that little compartment. You don't want it too high. And so these different compartments have screens, and it's kind of a little knowledge I picked up when I was on an aircraft carrier. Those screens in between those different sections are there primarily for bird strikes. So you want to keep the birds out of your turbine, and so you have different sections that can prevent a massive failure because you flew through some birds, and it does happen. All right, so now we're going to go from the this is the let's see. All right, the turbine. So yeah, maybe we should go ahead and turn on the jet engine, bring that down. There we go. I'll put that over there. All right, so let's see. Let's move this down a little bit more. So we're working on the core. The core includes 14 blades, and so every other blade is a stator vane, which is stationary. In that stationary layer is what straightens out the circular air that goes in there from the fan at the front. That also helps compress the air, and if you have compressed air, then it's easier for the gas and air to mix and ignite efficiently. All right, so make sure there's enough space between each section, and if you leave a half inch, that's probably all you need. So it is kind of interesting. Some of these go on with a positive value, and some you have to reverse it and put it in the negative offset value. All right, so this part is a little bit tedious. Exciting part is when you start putting the gears in there. So if you want this to work relatively close to realistic, you'll want the ratio on the front fan to be about 60 to 1, and that will speed up the front fan and get all the other sections going relatively realistic to what you're looking at. There's absolutely no way you can count all those blades to figure out the exact ratio unless you got a lot of time on your hands, and I wouldn't suggest trying. So we're just going to guesstimate and put a 60-to-1 ratio. All right. Yeah. So for every turn the front fan makes, then all the others turn 60 turns. So it's really going to speed things up. And let's see. I wonder if I got that my bottom left hand video on repeat. All right. So you'll notice on the edges there's not a whole lot of room for bypass air, and so which means this will be slightly noisy, but you're giving up quiet operation to increase power. So this might potentially be one that you would find on a military aircraft, potentially. Of course, you do see there's a little bit of air that can escape before it actually goes into the core, and it doesn't even go inside the casing at all. It kind of goes on the outside of the casing. That might offer some bypass air for the quieting effect. All right, so let's see here. Let's make sure I get my numbers correct. I'm looking at my notes, and I think it's 4 and 10. Trying to see where I wrote that down. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, the compressor has 4 low pressure, which is right behind the front fan, and then 10 high pressure stages that are basically what we're assembling right now. So we're in the high pressure stage, and after we do this, we're going to put the low pressure stage, which is right behind the front fan there in that first little section. So this is the 10 high pressure stages, and so every other one is going to be fastened so that the turbine blades that are spinning, the air will be straightened out with the stator vanes. All right, this is our last high pressure stage. So with this setup, it did come with some settings. That blue section right there, that's the low pressure. All 4 of those turn, but they do turn at different rates of speed, which is going to straighten out your air that is circulating when it comes in. So with the 4 stages spinning at their own rate of speed, it's going to have an effect on the incoming air as it straightens it out. It's going to compress that air into the chamber. And we're going to make sure that we are centered in that compartment. This is the 4 low pressure stages. And make sure you're centered in there. And so the low pressure and the high pressure is considered the core. So air that does not go into the core is bypasses, and that bypass air is what baffles the sound coming out the back of the engine. All right, so this is the fun part. We are going to we got to do the gear ratios. There's going to be about 4 or 5 of them, so this part, I'm not sure if I put my ratio in. If you remember that the first one I put at the very top, that has to be changed from fasten to revolute. And so what you do is you when you do one gear, you remember which was the last revolute you clicked on, and that's going to be where you start for your next gear, and then so on and so on. Let me start my little visual there in the bottom left-hand corner. So up front, that's the diffuser, and so that's what we're It's the area we're looking at right now. Compressor, combustor, and turbine. Turbine's the back, compressor's the front. There you can see the stator vanes with the effect of straightening out wind as it goes through, which compresses the air. You see that? That goes into the low pressure, then into the high pressure. So the first stage low pressure, and then goes into the high pressure, then into combustor. And in this case, the combustor is the gold-colored section, which is stationary. That thing is not rotating. All right, so we are going to. I think at this point we're going to see. See, what you want to do is go in there, and some of them have to be reversed, and some are going the correct way. But you can see that the last section is not working. So what happened was we fastened that when we should have revoluted it. So you go up and find that, right click edit, make sure you get the right one. So you have to make sure that you don't turn the axle revolute. You want to make sure that what I'm trying to do is make sure that I don't mess up the entire thing. So, then I got to right click and fix the casing, and yeah, it's not moving. So somewhere in there I have to find which one it is. Ugh. See, it's kind of confusing because one of those is the axle and one is the blades. So that was the wrong one. So that's the one I want to get right there. All right, so that's the one that needs to turn, and turn that to revolute. There we go. All right, so then we can go and add another gear on there. So that I don't know how many gears we have. We have like 4 or 5 different gears. So yeah, I mean you have to go in there, and some are reversed and some aren't. I just have to figure out which ones need to be reversed. And it's kind of weird how you would think they'd all turn in the same direction, but when I get these blades, sometimes they come with their own programming, and sometimes they put in different planes, and so that's why you'll have positive numbers and negative numbers when they should all be positive. So when you animate, you can pick the front one, put on the loop. I think 30,000 is the fastest you can go. And it's kind of weird, when I do fix the ratio, it seems like the lower end value I get, the faster the blade spins, which is kind of weird. So Yeah, that's pretty low, and so what you want to do is fix that, and that's got to be reversed because that's pushing air out the front instead of taking it in. So you can change your directional arrow under the playback loop. Click on that arrow change direction icon. Yeah, you're going to want to go for a, I think it was a 6:1 ratio on the gear 1, and that would speed up your engine a lot. Alright, so that's the low pressure. So if you go to gear 1, it might be gear 1, I'm not sure if it's, yeah, that's gear 1. Edit, and let's change the ratio. You can just mess around with the ratio. I believe 6:1 is a good number to go with. So the internal sections will turn 50 to 60 times faster than the actual fan. So I think I put in 6:1. So try different ratios, and you can see it would be impossible to count all those blades. So, and that right there gives you a pretty good idea of just what's supposed to happen. So there it is, guys. We're not going to do any kind of calculations, IMA or anything like that. That would take probably months to do. You would actually have to calculate all the blades. It would be a lot of work. So we're just going to count this as an assembly learning experience, and it is a jet engine. It's basically the prototype for a jet engine. And so, if you want to be a perfectionist, go in there and change all the directions to make sure they're going in the right direction. And have fun with this, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. All right.